Donovan Mitchell surprised a lot of people in his rookie campaign in 2017-2018, as no one expected him to be the runner-up for the Rookie of the Year award. He filled the void that Gordon Hayward had left, and alongside Rudy Gobert, he managed to lead the Jazz to 48 wins. In the playoffs, they beat the OKC Thunder in 6, but in the next round, fell to the Houston Rockets in 5. Coming into the next season, many people expected Donovan Mitchell to make a jump, maybe even become an All-Star, but the jump that he made wasn't as big and he didn't become an All-Star. He still managed to lead the Jazz to 50 wins though. However, in the first round of the playoffs, they faced the Rockets and again lost in 5. This season, Donovan Mitchell was playing his best basketball and even got selected for his first ever All-Star game. But with a guy like Jason Tatum on the brink of becoming a star player in the league, I'm wondering if Donovan Mitchell can ever be the best player from his draft. Ladies and gentlemen, this is MCG. If you like this content and you don't want to rely on the YouTube algorithm to show you my videos on your homepage before you actually see them, then subscribe right now before you forget. With that out the way, let's continue with the video. Right now, Donovan Mitchell was averaging 24 points per game, 4 assists and 4 rebounds on basically 46% shooting from the field and 36% shooting from 3. And he's basically playing the best basketball of his career. He improved his shot selection, which resulted in better field goal percentage, and he's also drastically improved his mid-range, making it a staple of his game now. His playmaking has improved by a bit, and he forces less things on offense in general. He can still drive stronger to the paint, finishing with a variety of different finishes. His 3-point shot is good. Well, it's not great, but it's also not bad either. It's reliable. When it comes to his offense, his main problem was and still is efficiency. That was sometimes because he just took tough shots, whereby he could have made a much easier play. Or it could also be simply because of his lack of size. Don't be fooled by his dunking ability. Donovan Mitchell was only 6'1" and roughly 6'3" in shoes apparently. So he's basically a point guard playing the shooting guard position. There are some nights when Donovan Mitchell gets cold. Good players have bad shooting nights, it happens. But what sets good from great players apart is that great players will still find a way to impact the game even when they're not shooting well. They'd get rebounds, extend the possessions, facilitate more, focus solely on defense and just all the little things to help your team win. I'm not seeing that from Donovan Mitchell. And yeah, he's not a great player, but he wants to be, and many people expect him to be one as well. Defensively, Donovan Mitchell is good. He can guard point guards pretty well since he's athletic enough to keep up with them and strong enough to absorb any contact. The problem comes when he has to defend guys that are 6'5" or 6'6", because like I said earlier, he's only 6'3" on the court. He can still keep up, but once they post him up, it's a wrap. They can even shoot over him and there's not much he can do about it. But all in all, he is a good perimeter defender that can actually stay in front of guards and stop them from penetrating. Now to the question at hand. Can Donovan Mitchell be the best player from his draft? Honestly speaking, I'd say no, because Jason Tatum to me is going to be the best player from that draft. At best, I see Donovan Mitchell being the second best player from that draft. And I know that some people early on in his career said that he could turn out like D Wade, but honestly speaking, I just think that Donovan Mitchell was too small to live up to that comparison. I mean, D Wade was 6'4", 6'5" on a good day, but he played with size and a built body, something that Donovan doesn't really do apart from when he dunks. And even if he turned out like D Wade, Jason Tatum is looking like a superstar on the making, make no mistake about it. I don't know if a mini version of D Wade would be better than Jason Tatum at his absolute peak. To me, Donovan Mitchell's game is almost at its peak. He can become a better shooter, better playmaker, and better finisher. But I don't see him improving drastically in any of the areas I just mentioned. he probably won't become an elite shooter with incredible range. And if you look at the top tier guards that are 6'3" or smaller, they can all shoot pretty well. Steph, Dame, Kyrie, Trey. In addition to that, they are all great playmakers. The only exception, so to say, would be Kyrie Irving, even though he himself is a very good playmaker. And now notice that I just only listed point guards. That's because there's basically no top tier shooting guard under 6'4". The one thing I think Donovan Mitchell should really consider is switching to point guard, because when he's at the point, he usually goes against point guards, players that are his size, so he has it much easier to score and facilitate the ball. Last year, for example, when they still had Ricky Rubio, Donovan Mitchell had to play 9 games at the point guard position because Rubio was injured. Guess what his averages were? 28 and 7 on good efficiency. Sure, it was only 9 games, but you could see that Donovan Mitchell had a much easier time playing ball. Obviously, the point guard switched off of him when it mattered, but by that point, he had already amassed a decent amount of points and assists. So yeah, I think that they should really experiment a bit more with Donny Boy at the point, and if it works, make him your starting point guard. But would all these changes and improvements really make Mitchell the best player from his draft? If for some reason Tatum plateaus after this or next season, and Donny Boy keeps improving like we expect him to, then yeah, he'd most likely be the best player from this draft. But the only real person I see ahead of Donovan Mitchell in the future is Jason Tatum. Apart from that, there is, in my opinion, no one that could be better than Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell has still been the better player between the two, and probably will be till the end of this season at least. And I think that the upcoming playoffs will actually decide whether or not Donovan Mitchell has really the potential to be a superstar in the league, whether or not he can actually live up to that D-Wade comparison, and if he might actually end up being the best player from this draft, and even better than Jason Tatum. All in all, I think whichever player is better next season, as well as this postseason a bit, will be the better player from that draft. Be that as it may, I hope Donovan can rise to the soon-to-be challenge and turns out to be the best player from the 2017 NBA draft. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you all for watching till the end. If you made it this far, then why not comment who you think will be the better player in the future, Jason Tatum or Donovan Mitchell. Anyways, this was MCG, peace out.